about, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of South Dakota, and I will faithfully discharge the duties of Alderman for the City of Miller, County, to the best of my ability.
Very good. Congratulations, Gail. You bet I'll let you keep that,
Okay.
and then I'll have you sign that too as well.
Same thing, guys.
She did that.
Hope the first one.
Congratulations, Gail. Yes.
We'll see.
go ahead.
Thank you, guys. When we're done tonight, if I could have you guys sit over in this chair, I'll take a quick picture and I'll send them to you for the website. Cool. Thank you. And we have a camera
That
here.
to you. I'll give that to you. There, Landry. Okay. That. Okay, we'll reconvene as the new council and elect the president and a vice president. Floor is open for nominations.
Can we even
I
nominate,
can't nominate, I
but can
don't-
we even nominate people that aren't present to accept, or
but me?
can they,
Decline?
do they have to be here to accept or decline?
I do not think they do have to be. No.
Nominate Susan Hargens for president of the council.
Need a second?
Second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion has been made and seconded for Susan Hargan to serve as president. Any other motions or nominations? Hearing,
Nominate Pat for vice president.
okay, let's do first of all for president. Okay, hearing no other further nominations for president, I entertain a motion to nominate to cease and cast a unanimous ballot for Susan Hargan as president.
Make a motion that nomination cease and we cast unanimous ballot, putting Susan Hargens as president of the council.
Okay? Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Okay, now with vice president.
I'll nominate Pat.
Okay,
I'll second it.
second. Any further nominations? Hearing none, then I'd entertain a motion to, that we cast a unanimous ballot and for support of Patrick for vice president.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I oppose the same. Motion carried. Okay, also handed out to, I think each of us have received and looked at upon our being sworn in to our office is the Board of Conduct, and that has been handed out to, as well as just outlining some of the dues and the responsibility of serving as a council. So, I think, are those signed, or are they just
Just for the new members,
for the new members? Okay, all right.
they're with the certificates.
With the certificate, I think that one right there. Yeah, so you have that, yeah, and you can sign that, read through and sign it, then you can turn it back in, so. Okay, we can move ahead with the department head reports. And those are found on page 13 through 16. Any questions with regard to any of them? Any of the, Ron, I know, where are you? I know, I didn't, is there a time frame that in the past, the citywide cleanup, did we do something like that? I know, I'm putting you on the spot. I should have run this by you before today,
I usually talk to Ty out there,
okay?
because it's kind of up to him, because he's the one taking it and has to push it up and things.
Okay,
And I haven't even thought about it. Usually we do mid-June-ish,
mid-June?
yeah.
Okay,
like Father's Day, like the week before Father's Day or the week after Father's Day, typically.
Okay,
But if he doesn't wanna do it, I really can't say we're gonna do it.
all right,
So, and I haven't even thought of talking to him about it,
All right.
to be honest with you, so.
okay. Well, we still have time for that, but I just, you know, sometimes I've seen people out mowing their lawn and kind of moving branches, so I just, it'd be nice to have that, you know, input with regard to that, you know, we're in the process of trying to get something coordinated for that effort, okay?
I'm gonna add something real quick. The signs,
Yes.
all the signs in Han County are being replaced. Township, county, city, Miller, St. Lawrence, Ree Heights, Polo, I suppose a little bit of Wessington. There'll be all new signs. There may be some that will be removed, or they may change because of there's a new rule book out, and it's federal. Gan Valley has the same rule as New York City. So it's called Uniform Traffic Control, so they'll all be that way. There's a few stop signs that might not be replaced because if it's an open, like this intersection, I'm not sure about it because you got the pool. But if you can see quite a ways, a stop sign is not to be used to slow people down. So, and there's no obstruction, so to speak, here. So, but I'm not, like I said, I don't know about these signs here, but there are gonna be some that may be removed,
Okay,
so.
all right. Okay,
I thought they were gonna start today, but the weather probably messing them up too, so.
okay, so that was my question. So a crew is going to come in and replace them, and it's not the,
Zero cost to the city of Miller,
okay, very good.
so.
Brings Ron's up at the mic. Any other questions with regard to Ron? Okay. You know, for those who are listening or watching, each of the department heads submit a report to us, and on there is a series of items that have been addressed, so that is on the agenda, so if there's ever any questions, you know, we can address them. Anything else? Terry indicated that the heaters to the pool, do you want to, Terry?
Yeah, the heaters showed up today for the pool, so we'll get them installed as soon as possible,
In fact, they were supposed to be here a few days ago, but,
the 25th.
yeah, so a little, we did expect them a little bit sooner. Okay, do you want to, Terry, while you're up here, there is, for those of on the airport committee and those assignments, the mayor appointments to those positions are listed on an upcoming page. Do you want to talk a little bit about that meeting tomorrow, or Wednesday? Yes.
The FAA and, well, the FAA, the national and the state guys go over our capital improvement plan with us and our engineers. So,
And so we're planned on meeting with them, and we're not the only community
Right.
that meets with them.
everybody meets with them. I mean, every airport in the state meets with them, so
Yeah.
maybe not all that day, but
At least in this
it
area.
takes about a half hour to
Yeah.
an hour for each
Okay.
meeting, so.
So, and we just have to let Cindy know who all plans. I do plan on attending, so, with that regard. Any questions for Terry, being he's up here at this time? None? Thank you, Terry. Then you have the electrical, finance, and then also the police report. Okay. Hearing no further questions just regarding to them. Unfinished business, the malt beverage license renewal, Family Dollar Stores of South Dakota LLC. That is, we just have to approve that and.
I did receive their application the very next day.
Okay. So for information or just review, the application was not submitted in time of our last council meeting, so the council was not going to approve it until the application was received, and it was received the day following our last meeting. So I would entertain a motion. Any concerns with regard to that? None. Ted? Okay, I'd entertain a motion then to renew the malt beverage license for Family Dollar Stores of South Dakota LLC that's located in Miller, so.
Make a motion that we renew the malt beverage license for the Family Dollar Stores of South Dakota LLC.
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none, motion and a second was made to approve the malt beverage license for the Family Dollar Store in Miller. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. On page 17, you will find the mayoral appointments. Any question? I can't remember going through them individually. And again, if you go onto our website, that each of the appointments are of each of the council members to the various appointments, as well as the each of the other titles with regard to some of the other positions too. I don't know if we need an approval of that. That's no. Okay, all right. Item number 3 under new business is Steve Meltnick is here for Colonial Life. If you would like to come up, Steve.
I have some pass outs for you all.
Okay, thank you.
And so kind of a little bit organized somewhat. But I'll pass these out first to Will and Patrick over here, because I did bring you something from Sioux Falls, called some cookies,
Oh,
as I'm getting organized here.
all right, okay.
So, if you never had some of that stuff, you might want to take a second gander on that one.
New councilman, I don't know if these were here when Drew come off, or not quite.
No.
Okay, so there's a light on there.
Yeah.
Is it lit?
Yeah, it's lit.
Okay, and you're, okay.
There you go.
And if we don't speak into them, they yell at us.
Can I ask, where do these, not that it makes a difference, they look delicious, where'd they come from?
Sioux Falls.
Sioux Falls, I know which one, which
Crumble
place?
cookie.
Is that by Shields?
It's up from there, yeah, it's a 41st. So, if everybody knows where Chick-fil-A in Sioux Falls is at, where the mall's at there,
Okay.
it's right behind there.
I have a former student that works at one of the bakeries there and does a heck of a good job. I know I try not to. I go in to see her, but I do not pick up very much.
Definitely not fat-free, and they're definitely not calorie-free either, that's for sure. They're good, though.
Oh, yes.
Congratulations, you guys.
Thank you, yeah, yeah. Okay, she's right beside, down from Shields.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So I'm Steve Melnick, I'm representing Colonial Life for a voluntary option for city employees. So this is just coming to you guys to help employees protect their family, futures, and finances. Basically, it's just an option that people have to click on us when they have their benefits come up. So I can walk through this with about 5 minutes, and then there's one last piece of information I have for some group term life for the city of Miller. So the first one here is, the second page says beyond benefits they do is, it says 70% of the employers who offer voluntary benefits do so as aid recruiting and retaining employees. We all know this is a big deal. So some things we are very good at doing without advertising. So Colonial won't ever hear on the TV, so most of that money we go back to the employee, which usually is a 22 to 32% discount for saving some other option carriers that are involved with you guys currently. So there's a savings for the employees. The third page is just we take the total benefit approach with everybody working for the city currently. So whether it be, the benefits that are voluntary that we do offer would be like accidental insurance, cancer, heart, stroke, illnesses, critical stuff, dental, disability, hospital indemnity, and life insurance. So those are just kind of the options that we put in place for anybody that wants to click on us and go, okay, that's good. The fourth page is really simple. It says what sets us apart from like the other carriers, whether it be Dearborn for life insurance, whatever it might be in here, wherever it may be. So employees' claims are very fast, 1 day in most cases, and then right now they're running 1 to 5 days. So with deposits. So when somebody wants to click on a skin cancer like I did last year with my cheek, and get paid within 1 to 3 days. I was pretty happy with that check for my skin cancer. So things like that. So the administration's really good for doing the claims and also services to you, which is good because I like her because I like her dad. So we're good. But anyway, we exist to help employees protect their families, finances, and future. Just household budgets are tight these guys. Future's unpredictable, and all our life always brings changes. And that's why I'm here, is to give another option for the city employees to have, hey, let's look at a different cancer insurance or whatever. They have the option of having more choices than just the current choices that they have for the city of Miller. So at no cost to the city, they'll get a sheet like this, the last one, and they just put their signature or whatever, they put their name and information, then I meet with them. And if they want me to click on something that they currently have, I just, okay. So, and usually it, 50% of the time, it's usually less costs or more coverages, so they'll have the option for the city of Miller for employees. So that's what they'll look at.
Right.
The last piece is really quick. This is just another thing that I'm doing here. It's
Thank you.
group term life. Group term life, this is the last year I'm doing it this cheap, so I'm not that I'm cheap, but my wife thinks so. Group term life is basic on the very top. If you guys have your pens handy, I'll kind of fill this out with y'all. This is kind of like show and tell. Now we're in kindergarten. But the top thing is just $10,000. So if you put 10,000 in that top frame there, for anybody that's. So
We're under
with
the,
that,
how
yeah,
much coverage does
that's
that, do I need?
10,000 that's the city pays for. So that's what the city will provide and for a group life. So basically, if you write beside that 10,000, just in a little box or a little circle, put $24 per year per person. So you put 10,000 and beside it, put $24. So how many people work for the city of Miller now? Census?
16 full-time.
Okay, so 240 plus another 6 would be, God, my math is terrible. 24 times 6? Anybody?
60, sure, yeah.
Okay, so, no, 24 times 6.
140?
Okay, so 144 plus the 240, so we're looking at about less than $400 a year. The city can provide $10,000 worth of coverage forever and ever for life insurance for each employee. So this is the good news now. So that's minimal because you already have a group life in here. This is why that people will put this with whatever else they have. So the next box is $75,000. So this is put $75,000, and what that box says is basically anybody that wants 10, 15, 25, 55, 65, 75,000 without asking questions as an employee, they can get that much without asking a height and weight question, a prescription question, or anything about themselves. The only question I will ask is, are you an active employee for the city of Miller? And you gotta say yes. Then you can get a buy-up. And then usually the buy-ups run at 4 to 6 cents per thousand, which is very, very cheap. So it's about 90 to 95% discount, so it's a big deal. The next box is spouses, 25,000. And basically on this box is a lot of spouses, like my spouse that passed away from a heart condition in 2008. She could never get life insurance because she had a heart condition. So spouses can get $25,000 without asking any questions. If they want it, they get it. And the last box is just a $10,000 option for the city employees for all children of the household. My record is 16, so if you have 16 kids, you'll beat my record or tie it. So I had a family had 16 children in one house, and they still paid $3.04 once a month. So whether you have 1 or 16. So there you go. So that's the group life. But the only portion that the city of Miller would be responsible for would be that $400 a year, $24 per person per year. So that's the group life that I can bring to the table for you. If you look at the price, it's irrelevant. $24 is, well, I just ate at Sean's over here at Turtle Creek in front of you guys here tonight for my dinner. You know, 15, 18 bucks, right? Salad bar, right? You know, drink, you know, that's $20 bill. So if you don't go out to eat one time this year, you paid for $24 a year for the whole year, and somebody gets $10,000 in life insurance. So,
Okay.
there you go. Questions for Colonial Life? Questions on group term life?
Any question from the council?
Will, Patrick, the new guys. Congratulations, you new guys.
Any questions from the employees? Obviously, you know, we have these and you can review them, or we have your
So
phone
I
number.
just wanna really make sure that I'm here ahead of time, but I don't wanna do this like in midterm year. I wanna do this at when everybody else does their stuff.
Okay,
Because I wanna make sure it's an easy transition to put another option in, but it's another easy option to put like a group life in. So I wanna make it simple,
okay.
so, but any questions, Mayor?
Not, I don't have any and stuff, so.
You guys like this option for the $24? Because in my last year, I'm doing the $24 per year for 10,000, but is it too much?
Seems like it's pretty fair.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Yeah,
And then the other option is you guys opposed to putting another voluntary option in for the employees that the city does not pay for, but the employee has to pay for?
it's something we just gotta talk with the employees on if something they're interested in. Is there any stipulations for so many have to take
No.
of their individual ones?
I have a city office that had, one person has one dental plan.
Okay. And that's just whatever they want. I
There's
just didn't know
no
if there was a.
dollar amount, people amount, or policy amount.
Okay.
So you guys get, if I help one person, I've done my job, and hey, so, but, thanks for having me in, enjoyed the cookies, guys.
yes, thank you very much, thank you.
You got my number.
Yeah,
I should, that's bad to say that.
Yeah.
You know how to get hold of me.
but Steve, I appreciate you coming and presenting this, you know, anything that that the employees can do to,
Mitigate risk.
kind of look over, you know, some of their coverage is extremely beneficial for them and stuff, so.
Like I say, if you can, you know, I'd say 90% of the time, I'd save people money on an accident insurance, a cancer, just something, disability, whatever it may be. But if it's in place, then they have the option saying, oh, I like yours, or I don't like yours, okay. If they have a relationship with their person there, that's fine, I'm just here to help.
Yeah,
That's the main thing, is to help the employees for the city of Miller.
very good.
So, thanks guys again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Okay, on page 18, Chief Huss is here with regard to the federal fiscal year 25 highway safety grant. Do you want to discuss that? That's found on page 18, if you will.
This grant has been utilized many times here, so it's just application for the federal fiscal year 25, October 1 through September 30th. The dollar amounts are up there as far as the grant amount, 46.
Yeah, 4,600.
46. The local match, 1150, isn't really an additional cost. That local match part is utilized for regular hours for whoever's on duty.
Okay. What's the, kind of go through, what's the purpose that we,
The highway
what's it used for?
highway safety grant is specific to speed enforcement and seatbelt. The ultimate goal of the whole program is to reduce traffic crashes and injuries.
Okay.
So the state will reimburse
Yes.
wages paid to the officers as
Yep.
long as we can attribute hours to being on the highway.
Correct.
Yes, it would be a reimbursement, so it's for extra additional hours. Whoever's off could come in and work, and then we would submit reimbursement and get paid back for that cost.
Okay, very good.
Is that reimbursement just a wage reimbursement, or is there?
It's wage, including, was it, including retirement and payroll taxes, I guess it would be. The total cost of whatever it is to pay that officer.
Vehicle usage and all that.
No vehicle, it's just strictly labor hours, which, like I said, would include the retirement portion. You know, if we're working, a percentage of that goes towards retirement, so the city gets reimbursed that part, but nothing for gas or vehicle wear.
But this has to be over and above what their regular hours is. This is extra coverage?
Yes, this would be, other the local match is forever who's on duty, which is gonna be paid anyway. The grant reimbursement would be extra hours. Somebody who's off shift that day would come out and specifically work grant time.
Okay.
Okay, good question. Any other questions? Okay, and this grant goes into effect next fiscal year? Or is it
October 1.
of this
Yeah,
year?
Yep.
Okay. I didn't see that on here. Okay, good.
Make a motion, do we have to apply for the grant, or?
Yeah, we have to
Yep,
apply.
Yep,
Okay, I make a motion, we apply for the grant for South Dakota Highway Safety.
okay.
I'll second it.
Second, have a motion and second. Any discussion? Okay, the motion and second has been made to apply for the federal fiscal year 25 highway safety grant. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Ted.
On pages 19 through 20, this deals again with the 22-23 audit engagement letter. And this is from Coleman, Biersbach, and Anderson LLC. And basically, for past information, we signed the letter of commitment this past February. Okay, and this is the letter of engagement for the audit services. And that audit services, if you remember on page 12, which we do not have, I mean, the entire letter was multiple pages, so with regard to that, it's not going to exceed $20,500. That was according to, and then if you want to look at that, it's on page 12 of the original letter submitted.
And if I'm correct, we are required by law, by the size of our finances, we have to have an audit yearly.
Yes.
Yes, so someone has to do it.
This one will also include a federal audit.
Okay, because how
Because
often are
we-
we required for that
For a
one?
federal audit, if you collect more than $600,000 in reimbursement or funding from the federal government, you are required to have an audit on those funds.
Okay. Any other questions with regard to that? Hearing none, I would request a motion to enter into, with regard to the letter of engagement with Coleman, Biersbach, and Anderson for the audit as described. I'm just going to read the first sentence. It says, "We are pleased to confirm our understanding of the services we are to provide the city of Miller for the years ending December 31st, 2022 and 23. So, and then it goes on to the scope of additional pages that you have in your minutes, but you're more than welcome to go back and read the entire letter if you'd like to, or anybody could. Okay? I'd entertain a motion then to enter in an agreement.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none, we have a motion to approve and second to approve letter of engagement with Coleman, Biersbach, and Anderson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Okay. The ballpark is the next one, and to hire seasonal help. And with that,
Do
we
we,
had a letter application. We had a applicant, Ty Hosman, has applied, and what he would be doing is he would be helping Roger Haberling down at the ballpark. That's what this is for. And I know all our other starting employees for the city of Miller receive, how much? 13, what?
It's $13.50.
$13.50 an hour, just for informational purposes. And we ran, Roger has been in contact with Ron, and so with regard to fulfilling that position, that's one of the positions that haven't been filled as of yet. So go ahead, Ron, please.
Well, for the new guys, I'm pretty sure everybody else knows, Roger didn't want to work 40-hour weeks. He kind of wanted to retire a little bit. That's kind of why he wanted a second person, so. He talked to me if it got slow, if I could find stuff for him to do, which there's always stuff to do down in the park. We got trees, the heck won't have it. Roads if we need to. If he's 18, he can work on roads, so.
How old is the applicant?
He's over 18,
He's 18.
Okay.
Yep.
or right at, if not older.
Yep. With the child labor law, 16 is like, you can't have him do anything. I mean, it's kind of a shame. When we were that age, it was different than it is now, so. And we have to follow that, so.
And with that, I think if you know, for some individuals going to look at a job that's done at the ballpark, you know, it looks good. With somebody like Roger, with the background he has with regard to baseball and softball, he understands what needs to be done and the expectations of how it should be to play on and things of that sort. So he's probably ahead of the game with regard to if I would be down there, of what needs to be done. And again, I think that's one of the things he does. He just wants a little bit more. I think he wants to stay engaged with regard to the ballpark, but at the same time, free up a little bit of time for himself as well, too. So
Can I take a look at the application?
absolutely,
So this is basically just a supplement to Roger, that
yes.
we're not gonna spend any more money, it's just gonna be divided between the two of them. Right.
Basically, that's kind of how the budget was, when we did the budget.
Yeah.
Because I know last year, they had a second person, but they were also active in other ways, so they couldn't put in enough time, and Roger was like, I didn't, he wanted to do what he did, he just didn't want to be down there that much, His retirement ended up being working down there, not golfing like he wanted to golf once in a
Yeah.
while. He goes, I like working out here, but at the same time, I like, doing other stuff too, so.
But in the same time, to follow up, we have, with regard to budgeted, with regard to Roger and any other help that we have down there. So it's not gonna be anything above and beyond what has been budgeted for, yes.
Have you talked with the applicant?
I haven't, he actually interviewed him,
Roger did.
yeah.
So I will make the comment that we only have $12,500 budgeted in the salary line for ballpark.
Okay,
That was gonna be my next question is, do we have that in the budget?
No,
I figured it up, and there's not gonna be that many hours down there,
Well, here it says he expects to work 40 hours a week.
but it's only a few months.
But you're saying 12,000 total, correct?
12,500 total for
So
the
it's-
salary line.
12,500 minus Roger.
It's 540 a week. I don't even know what I'm doing here now.
Neither one have benefits, correct?
Correct.
But even at 10 weeks, that's almost half of what we budgeted for the entire ballpark, isn't it?
10 weeks is 5,400, but Roger's not gonna be down there for 40 hours. If he would still be 10,000.
Plus some would be out of the park, wouldn't it? These were out of the park.
Well, it couldn't be. I mean, we can do that. We've done that in the past, so.
So are you thinking that this is within our budgetary means of that? I know that definitely will want
Yeah.
something besides just Roger.
Right.
So if you're confident that the budget can stay where it's at,
Well, I think so, and then like you say, you can go over on a line item as long as you don't go on the bottom number and you don't have to supplement.
Can
A
the
lot of
park-
time,
If he's gonna work in the park, can the park budget
I
supplement?
I
that?
think the park's got some money there. I'm not real sure right offhand. My budget will, cause my part-timers stepped down. So, I'm not, there'll be enough money to take care of the employee. So,
if you're confident with the budget, then I have no issue with getting some more help down the ballpark. Cause in years past, there was always two down there. One down there is kind of an anomaly.
Yep. It works once the games are done, then you're not required to be there as much. And when the games are done, it's starting to get hot, and if I'm retired and it's hot, I'm gonna find other things to do. I mean,
Yeah.
so I'm not, it's not like they're both gonna be down there 40 hours a week for months, you know. And like normal in the fall, when the fall comes around, if Roger's gone, the street guys get on mowers and mow, and we just kinda maintain the mowing part. It's what we've done for 37 years.
Cause how old do you have to be now to mow?
I'm not real sure, but you have to be at least 17. I'm pretty sure, but if they're 16, they can't even drive or mow a ditch.
Make a motion that we hire the applicant.
Could I see his application
Yeah,
here
you bet.
before we?
You know, it's kind of interesting that you say while Gail was looking through that, when all this rules and some of these rules came out, I was quite a bit younger than I am right now, but I had a friend of mine who was working 2 years at a particular job, came back the third year and he wasn't qualified because he was too young.
Now, they can live in Rapid City, drive to Miller at 8 in the morning, be here, and they can't drive from the street shop to the ball field when they're our employee. And at 5 o'clock, once somebody gives them a ride to their vehicle, they can drive all the way home to Rapid City. That's child labor law. 25% of the day on a 17-year-old can be on a road or a ditch, mowing a ditch or something like that. But for only 20% of the day.
So you
If
gotta
it's a
follow
10-hour
the
day, it's different than if it's an 8-hour day. Isn't a ditch a ditch?
stopwatch.
I mean, the common sense is long gone, but
Did Roger indicate to you about how much time he wanted to put in on an average week?
he really didn't give me a so many hour kind of thing. He just wants to have somebody or have, if he's gone, to have somebody go down and show the person what to do and then, just go down there. I think he's gonna make sure they know what they're doing and he'll just tell them, this is how we do this, and he's probably gonna be gone and, maybe check on them a few times during the day. It's kind of what I gathered, so.
Okay, have a motion? Hire him at a set, what, did you say a wage?
State his name and wage, please.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
We mowed at the airport the other day and we mowed that much off. And I got stuck.
Cause what was Roger at last year? 1350?
Roger was at 15, and we upped him to 17.
Right, and I just trying to figure out what a labor wage should be. Cause it's different from when I was a laborer.
Mm-hmm.
That hasn't been, that might have been a while ago, but.
I know we changed our,
$3.50 for me.
We changed our salaries resolution. It used to be seasonal, and everybody started at that base pay of $13.50 an hour.
Okay.
And then we stepped it up incrementally for a number of years of experience, or if you obtained your WSI or
So our-
CDL.
So like our pool.
But this year, The resolution states it's just for lifeguards.
But
And
in
if
the
they obtain.
past, our laborer's position was $13.50.
It was,
Okay.
but the resolution is now stated differently.
I mean, I wanna be fair, but I don't even know what minimum is nowadays. Is it 11?
I think it's,
Less than that.
Is it less?
I say 975 or something.
Which it's different now with an 18-year-old versus 14-year-olds too. I mean, you're gonna get a different type of work out of an 18-year-old than you will have a 14-year-old as well. So just look at me, you can talk up of what you guys are thinking
Well,
of wage.
I think you gotta be mindful of what we have budgeted, otherwise making budgets kinda pointless. We're just gonna go over them anyway. But as long as we can stay within that designated dollar amount, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. And then I think between Ron and Cindy, they can, you know, keep an eye on that and just make sure that we don't exceed the budget. You know, and I'm not gonna, I don't wanna speak for Roger, but I do know that he was looking for some additional, you know, time off, but also a reassurance that the ballpark is being taken care of up to, you know, I would say his expectations, or, you know, kinda how he directs an individual. That's just my perception, you know, with regard to, and again, I don't wanna speak for him, but that's,
I'll go back to my previous motion, amend it, and say as long as they're confident with budget, then hire Ty Osmond at the rate of $13.50 an hour.
okay?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, we have a motion to hire and the price to offer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries, okay? On page 21, you have the Helms and Associates, with
Steve,
regard,
Steve, you looking for something?
oh, I thought you want your cookies back, I was gonna say. Okay,
I haven't seen it.
I don't,
Computer bag?
computer bag?
It's not a chair out there, is it?
Yeah. Okay, on page, hope he finds it, on page 21, you'll see from Helms, with regard to, if you look it over, the contract amount is $84,960.27. They have been compensated for 53.50%. And basically, it talked about the services, the expenses, the billing date, the amount paid, and also that now the balance due is $18,266.45. Is that correct? That's how much they're requesting that amount. And again, indicating that the total amount of the contract with them is $84,960.27. Anything else I need to add to that, Cindy? So I would entertain a motion to pay the balance due to Helms and Associates. This is for the Miller Airport taxiway reconstruction and access road design. Do we have any additional grants or anything coming?
Well, it's a 90-10 or 95-5%, like, of that project. That's the one where we don't pay a good majority of the project cost.
Correct.
That's,
Right,
yes.
yep. So our match is 5%, state is 5, and I think federal's 90.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so we're
Yeah.
only having to pay 5% of the whole project
Yes.
cost.
I submit these to the state every time we pay one.
Yep. Okay.
I'll make a motion, we pay Helms and Associates.
I'll
Second.
second it.
Discussion. Motion has been made and second to pay the balance due of $18,266.45 to Helms and Associates. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No, all those opposed, no. Motion carries. Okay. Next thing is the bank account signatures, American Bank and Trust, Coin, and South Dakota Fit, add and delete officials. So at this time, we will, in the past, we've find it. Good, all right. In the past, we've added Cindy is already still on there as the former deputy finance officer. We would add Christy Danberg, and we'd also add Susan to that list. So I'd entertain a motion to, and to remove, to add Susan and Cindy, Christy, you're already on there.
I make a
And-
motion that we add Christy Danberg and Susan Hargens, and we remove Shayla Koss
And,
and Mike Wetz.
okay, motion and been made, and, do I have a second? Second. Motion has been made and seconded for the additions and deletions of these, signatures, to those account. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Just tried to help there, Tom.
Pardon me?
Just tried to help there.
I do, okay, all right. I appreciate that too, Patrick, okay. Building permits, we have the, running fences. Have the building permits gone around? Have you looked at them?
Yes.
Yes.
Runnings wants a fence, Dale and Susan Hargan wants a shed, and Carrie White wants to expand a deck and install a fence. And for the record, and I will get back to this person, because before I answer a question, I want to make totally sure that I'm correct. Not that I have done that in the past all time, but anyway, somebody asked me a question, they're gonna replace a sidewalk in front of their home. You do not need a building permit for that. I'll just make that point. Fence, huh?
But you do need council approval
Okay,
to replace a sidewalk.
all right. But she does need a building permit, okay? But she does have to notify the finance office with regard to that anyway. Having said that, in the past, there was no need to do a fence, now there is. That has been added since my last time on the council. So, anyway. And all of these are okay, Dustin, with regard to, okay.
Make a motion, we approve all building permits.
Okay,
Second.
Second.
discussion, have a motion and a second to approve all the building permits. Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed the same, motion carries. Okay, next we have Jan, understanding South Dakota open government laws. Okay,
I put some of these over here also, so if anybody wants one. This is the YouTube videos that I'm requesting you guys to look at someplace. Get it out here. I can go in first. One for each of you guys. So the South Dakota Broadcasting, South Dakota Media Association got together and had a meeting about FOIA laws, so open government stuff, and then they also had Marty Jackley there, and he discussed specifically South Dakota laws, and that's that second one that's on that list, and that is the Zoom meeting that we had. The first guy talks about an hour, and that's all about federal law, what we can do, what we can't do, all that kind of stuff. Then Jackley gets on there and he talks for about an hour about specifically South Dakota law, so if you want to kind of speed through the first one, that's okay, but do listen to Jackley because he does have some nice things to say. In that, I have to ask every year to be recognized as the legal newspaper, which you guys did tonight with your appointments and stuff. In that, I have to request that I be the media contact person and have all agendas and special emergency meetings, things like that, notification to our office at our email address, news@themillerpress.com. And if by phone, if necessary, to either our office, 605-853-3575, or my personal cell, 605-204-0763. So anything you need to contact me about, you can. I'm requesting that the first meeting in July, after the Municipal League Conference on open meetings for state and federal laws for the state of South Dakota, I'm requesting a review be held at this meeting as well. Every year we have new laws come out, how they're gonna do stuff, what they're doing, and I think that it might be a good idea. This is one of the things that Jackley discussed, to have everybody go over that so that there's new people on the council, new laws, whatever. And he requested that once a year, we go over those. So I'm requesting that after that municipal league conference, then we'll know what the new laws are and how they're supposed to be implemented.
So you're talking about the finance officer school, not the annual conference in October?
Oh, I thought it was in June.
The annual conference for all department heads is in October.
Is it
The
October?
finance officer school is in June.
Which one do they do the new laws? And is the one in October or is it the one in
They
June?
do review
I was
at
thinking-
both.
Oh, okay. Whichever one you think would be better. I mean, because I
The
just.
annual conference,
Annual conference? Okay,
Yeah.
so in October then?
yeah,
Okay, so in October then,
okay.
I request for
Oh,
that.
and
So
then there's
mo-
there's an new elected officials training in July as well. And that's when they review some of
That's
that
just
stuff.
for new people?
That's for anyone can go,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we highly encourage that the new council people go to that.
Okay, whichever one you think would kind of cover those new laws and so that we don't start making mistakes right away in the new laws, so whichever one you
Yeah.
think would be better is fine with me. He just asked that we do it once a year, and so I'm just gonna, he asked us to request it.
I
so.
guess I personally would say, if the new elected officials go to that training in July, it'll be fresh, and then maybe review it again in October,
Okay. Sounds
just to
good,
come back around to it.
sounds good. We'll do that then, after the October meeting, so like first one in November. Because we should be done with budget and all that stuff at that point in time, so, okay, first one in October then. That meeting, was very eye-opening for me. There's a few things that Tom and I talked about, Cindy and I talked about, that we've been doing specifically incorrectly. And I didn't know we were doing them incorrectly, and I don't think Tom or Cindy knew we were doing them incorrectly either, but one of the things that's bothered me since I got here was the mayor attending committee meetings, because that's 4. And by Robert's Rules of Order, 4 is a quorum. So I asked that specific question. And Jack Lee explained it that, yes, Robert's Rules of Order, 4 is a quorum, unless your charter says otherwise. And your charter does. So Miller can have the 3 aldermen and the mayor, and that is a legal meeting and not need of a quorum. Okay? So that's not a quorum. So you are doing it correctly.
you bet. And with that said.
I like saying it, you did it
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, with that said, in all due respect, we knew we were doing it correctly simply because that's what the ordinance does specify. But I
Right.
understand if the ordinance didn't specify that, then
It's
it
the,
would be
it's the
done.
charter.
Yes.
Yes, the
the
charter, the
yes.
charter does that specifically.
Yeah.
But nobody could tell me why it was okay. And I was like, why is this okay? And he goes, well, if it's in their charter.
Yeah.
And so then I pulled your charter, and sure enough, it's in your charter.
And
So
I asked the
that
same
is
question
correct.
at the new elected officials, and our charter says that it is okay because our mayor is a non-voting member until there's a tie. Is the way it was explained to me, but I can't.
That's
remember
why
the-
it's written that way.
But see, that doesn't work because he does have a vote in a tie. And like I said, I asked Jack Lee that. I texted that question into the moderator who then, but it has to say that in the charter that you can have the mayor there.
Right, but with 3 council people being on a committee, you can't have a tie with 3, so he could never vote.
And we can't take action.
He
We
could-
can't have a
you could
motion.
You could have the 3 people, you can't do anything at the council, at the committee meeting. You bring it here, and your 3 council members vote, our committee members vote, we talked about it in committee meeting, and we're gonna do it this way. And the 3 that weren't there said, no, we don't want it that way. He was at the meeting, he can then make the vote to that.
So the charter is what
So the
saves us
charter
now.
is really what decides that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just like to know that you guys are doing it right, so you are doing it right, and it's because of the charter.
Well, and I'm gonna, we wanna know we're doing it right.
Right.
We take this position very, strongly with regard to it, and we try to be due diligent with regard to the do's and the don'ts, and we
Right.
do not wanna cross that line. So
And
please,
I appreciate that
Yeah.
very much.
yeah, thank you.
And then, one of the other questions that I had was specifically where you hired the individual with the candidate A, candidate B situation last week, and I asked that question. And he asked me why you're having the interviews in executive session.
Because we can.
And I said, because they're supposed to? And he said, they're not personnel. They are not personnel. They are an
Or prospective personnel. It's what
No.
it says, word for word.
Jack Lee.
Prospective personnel.
Jack Lee specifically said, not appropriate. That's what I asked.
I-
So,
it's pretty clear in the writing that it does allow prospective employees to be.
Jackie, you can watch the video. I'm not the Attorney General. I'm just saying what he said. So however it's
yeah,
supposed to be
yeah.
done is how we want it.
And this is, and you and I had this discussion, you know, with regard to the, I don't know if it's the, clarification or thing. I came back to look for a question that I was looking for, and and I'll be very open and honest, so the question is, who has the authority to call an executive session? I could not find anything. I could not find anything in our code, and I could not find anything here. But running across executive session, this is what I did see. And this is on 4.450, executive session, closed meetings. The elected officials may discuss the qualification, competence, performance, and character or fitness of any officer or employee, including prospective officers or employees. Contractors are not included in this term, officer, employee. Now, having said that, it doesn't say the interview of such a candidate, but it just more or less talked about the prospective officers. But sometimes we can have those questions asked in a closed meeting with the candidates. I also, I think one of the other things that is I think, you know, sometimes people are sensitive. They may not want their name out, and I think this is where we have to get clarification. They may not want their name out there until they hear after the interview, until the offer is made, and then eventually
Right,
accept it.
and you
So
and I discussed that
yes.
too, you know, because we don't want someone, you know, losing a job or losing a position due to them being here. So like I said, that's just what Jackie said, so that's however you guys wanna do it from that point forward, but that's what he said specifically in the meetings.
Well, I guarantee you
You
this,
will-
I do plan on going to the annual, and that is gonna be one of the questions that I do ask, you know, so there can be clarification to know that we are doing it.
I think I'd like them to retouch on that subject, because I've never seen an interview in a public meeting, ever.
Me either, I
I
was
find it-
dumbfounded with it, so.
I find it absurd that they think that
Ever.
we're gonna have
And that's just because I
job
haven't seen
interviews
it, but
posted
I've,
on a live YouTube feed. That is just isn't gonna happen.
Yeah.
The thing is that, it's probably gonna have to happen like in a committee type situation where the committee interviews the person and then goes from there. However you guys decide
yeah.
to do it, let's just clarify it with Attorney General
We
to make
will.
sure it's done correctly.
And again, I wanna be perfectly upfront with you and the community. That was one of the questions that, with regard to some of the past interviews we had, and my question is, do we wanna put that before the Personnel Committee? Do we wanna put that before the particular subject matter committee? And the person at that time, one of the council members, indicated she would feel better if it was the entire council, which I was okay with. You know, a lot of things that I do with regard to my position, I'm sure the council members will say the same. If I need a direction from one of the department heads, I'm gonna go to the department head. Now then we have to be on the same, and if it involves the council, I wanna make sure that we're all on the same page with regard to.
Where you were reading that out of, is that the charter?
That's out of the municipal.
That's the municipal
Yeah,
league?
That's the municipal league handbook. Or
Is
handbook
that
for
South Dakota
municipal
codified
officers.
law, or is it, I mean, the ordinance that you were reading there, is it codified law, or? I mean, I realize it's municipal
well,
league, but just because it's municipal league doesn't mean it's law, so I'd like to know what.
Well, South Dakota Codified Law 1-25-2.
Okay, I'll look that up
Yeah.
specifically, and I can give Tony a quick
Yeah.
email tomorrow too, and.
You know, please do, because we want to make sure we're doing it
Yeah,
correctly.
I wanna make sure it's done right too, that's
Yeah.
just what Jackie said during the meeting, so.
Yeah, okay.
One of the other things that came up was, the media contract that South Dakota Assurance Alliance had you guys sign a few years ago, where the only one who's allowed to meet with me or discuss anything with me is the mayor. And we discussed that specifically also, and that is a federal law, that is against the law. So have that checked out, because believe me, this was a Zoom call where we
Yeah.
were texting in questions. So have that looked at to make sure that we're not breaking some law there.
You know, I was not a part of that. I know it came up during the interview process, and I think you you brought up that question, and rightfully so. I think, and I'm not speculating, I think, I don't know if it was designated that the mayor is a spokesperson, but I'm not, I'm not gonna come in here and tell, I'm probably gonna go to one of these individuals to get clarification with regard to, okay, before moving forward.
Right.
But I think, go ahead.
I will take that media policy to HR school in June
Perfect, that would be
and
great.
ask.
Yeah, because, I mean, even the way that it sets right now, even the elected officials aren't allowed to talk to me or anyone else. I mean, and let's be realistic, if somebody calls Will and says, hey, I have a question, or I want to talk to you about this, he's gonna talk to him. That's his job. So I don't think that it's not being followed at all, so I just think that we need to revisit that and make sure that where we're at with it and what's supposed to be happening. I'm sure that you probably all heard about my article in the paper on page 3. If you didn't, please entertain a few minutes to read page 3 and then read page 5, and then you can read page 1. Not telling you what to do, but it was full of stuff. I have a specific job to do. It's not always fun. I like putting in that we had lots of fun and we had, a track season that was great, or a state cross-country team was #1, our coach was made coach of the year, volleyball team did great, whatever. I love putting that stuff in, but I also have a job, and that other part of the job isn't any fun. But I will not be told what goes in the paper,
Have you been told by anybody from this council or myself?
not from this council,
Okay, all right.
not from this council.
Okay. All right.
I have been, there's been other times with other councils and other boards, and that doesn't fly with me.
Yeah.
I'll specifically put that in the first paragraph then.
Yeah.
I mean, I am that person. So, I appreciate you guys. I want to work together. I want us to show the great side of Miller, because I think it's a great community. That's why I moved my family here 23 years ago, and why it's the longest place I've ever lived anywhere. I've been to 38 states and 14 foreign countries. I live in Miller because I choose to.
Yeah.
And I want everybody to love Miller as much as I do, so.
Appreciate that.
Is there
Okay,
anything else
I
you
do-
think we're in violation of? You said you had a handful of things.
No, not a handful, just a few. Just the one with the agenda, or with the hiring of the people, because I specifically, there was a situation in Sioux Falls where they actually kind of tried to do what you guys did last time, where they were gonna do that thing that we decided in executive session. All those in favor say aye.
No, yeah,
Yeah, and they got called.
yeah.
I agree that we hire, I motion that we hire candidate A at a wage to be determined later. That's pretty vague. And so I specifically asked that question if that was available. That was the way that should be done. And Jackley specifically said, what are they doing in an executive session for? And I said, I don't know. That's just how they do it. That's how it's done. And that's when he said it should not be an executive session and it should not be made a motion that way.
Okay,
So I was like, okay, cool.
okay. First of all,
What did he say it was
first of all, I
supposed
want
be
to,
an executive session?
Pardon me?
The interview? Isn't
The
it
interview is not supposed to be an executive session. That's, so, I know,
Whatever.
I understand why it is, and I don't necessarily agree with it, but that's what he said,
all right.
so.
First of all, I think.
he might
e-
be referencing
yeah.
the motion, because you can't make a motion in executive
No.
session. I'll agree if that was
Correct.
the case.
And we didn't.
We didn't.
And watch the Zoom meeting, I mean, so. And if I heard it incorrectly, or if I'm incorrect, I'm
Yeah.
fine with that. We'll discuss it at the next meeting and we can go over it again,
Yeah.
so.
You're absolutely right with regard to each one of us, and I think each one of us take a great deal of pride, not only what we do around this and all ultimate responsibility, what we not only do here, but what we do in our other work. And the one thing I'd never want to do is have a perception out there that we are doing something that we shouldn't be doing. I think, and I will put my reputation on the line with regard to that. I never want to do anything to lose the trust of our community with regard to the duties that we perform, and I guarantee you there has never in this, on this council, and I'm gonna dare say previous council, but I can only attest to the executive committee or the executive sessions that I've been a part of, there has never been a motion or a second or a vote taken in executive session, nor as mayor would I allow that.
And I appreciate that.
Yes.
And I was at the Newspaper Association convention last weekend, and Amanda Fanger, I don't know if you guys know Amanda Fanger, she's from by Oneida originally, and she's up in Webster now, owns the Webster paper. Great gal. She was at their county commission meeting, and the highway superintendent was up giving his report and everything, and he said, I make a motion that we do. And one of the guys said, hey, I second that. All those in favor say aye, aye. And they passed it with the motion being made by the highway superintendent. And she called them on it. And they're like, yeah, you're right. That was procedural error. We'll fix it in the next meeting. So then they could not go forward with that they were going to do, and it got set back a whole month because someone was just not following procedure correctly. They weren't trying to do anything inappropriate or anything like that. They were like, yeah, I agree with that. I'll second that. And it went a little too far. So sometimes we're there just to make sure everything stays kind of above board. So but anyway, I appreciate your time.
Thank
today.
you.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, and I will follow up on that last comment, or that last point that you made. We may ask, a department head with regard to their input before a decision is made, but never have any of the department heads made, nor would they be allowed to make a formal motion with regard to this council. That motion would be made and seconded and voted on by the members of the council. So, with that, and I would entertain anybody having any concern about anything to please, contact me or any one of us with regard to those concerns. So anyway, moving on. Item 11 is the first reading of the ordinance number 752. This is Phase 4 water surcharge, and that is found on page 22. And I'll just read through that and with the explanation, do some explaining, and Terry's here to help out with this. Ordinance number 752, the City of Miller. The ordinance for underneath that, City of Miller is an equal opportunity employer. So with that, an ordinance for the purpose of amending the revised ordinance of the City of Miller, South Dakota, number 748, to provide for amending the water rates to be charged by the Miller Municipal Water System. Be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Miller, South Dakota, that the city fees schedule listing water rates be amended to as follows. Rates is the rate to be charged to customers to be amended as followed. And this is a residence with regard to $4.25 per 1,000 gallons. The base fee, I'm just going to, when I'm talking about all the first ones, when I get to say Phase 4, all of them are what is in place now. The Phase 4 is what will be added to it. The base fee is $25. The debt service surcharge for the water tank is $3.94. The debt service charge to Phase 1 is $8. And this is all plus the debt service charge to Phase 2 is $5.60, plus the debt service charge of Phase 3 is $2, and this is what we're adding, would be adding if this is approved at obviously the second time. I shouldn't say obviously, but for those who don't understand, an ordinance has to be approved this time and their next meeting. The debt service surcharge of Phase 4 would be $7.15. Which will be a total rate of $51.69. Now, that is a residence rate at $4.25 per 1,000 gallons. Now, then the residence rate no base fee is just $4.25 per gallon. Commercial rates, $4.25 per 1,000 gallons, plus the base meter according to the meter size. And meter size is 5/8 to 1-inch base fee. That is $7.71. Now, this is another meter. This is not in conjunction with 1 or 2 or so on. So if you have a meter size of 5/8 to 1 inch, the base fee is that. The debt service surcharge for the water tower is $3.94, plus the debt service charge to phase 1 is $8, plus the debt service charge to phase 2 is $5.60, plus the debt service charge to phase 3 is $2, and this would be the debt service charge to phase 4 would be $7.15 for a total of $66.40 for those who have that size of a meter. If the meter size is 1 1/2 inch, the base fee is $47.03, plus the service charge for water tower is $3.94, plus the debt service charge of phase 1 is $8, plus the debt service charge of phase 2 is $5.60, plus the debt service charge of phase 3 is $2. Now, this is the debt service charge for phase 4 with $7.15 for a total of $73.72 again for that meter size. For those a meter size of a 2-inch, base fee is $54.34, plus the debt service charge of the water tower is $3.94, plus the debt service charge of phase 1 is $8, plus the debt service charge of phase 2 is $5.60, plus the debt service charge of phase 3 was $2, and then the added amount for debt service charge of phase 4 would be $7.15 for $81.03. If you had a meter size of 3 inches, the base fee would be $83.69, plus the debt service charge of the water tower. Now, these first up until phase 4 are already in place. Debt service charge to water tower is $3.94, plus the debt service charge of phase 1 is $8, plus the debt service charge of phase 2 is $5.60, plus the debt service charge of phase 3 is $2. The addition would be the debt service charge of phase 4 is $7.15, total amount of $110.38. Commercial water rate, no base fee, would be $4.25 per gallon.
1,000 gallons.
1,000 gallons, thank you for that. Thank you very much. This ordinance should be in full force and effect so as to commence and include all water billings beginning with water usage for the month of June 2024.
It's first reading anyway, isn't it? Can't do anything on the first reading.
I think we can do the second reading.
Do we still approve the first reading?
I know we do.
Don't do a roll call vote to the second one.
That's right. Approve this, okay.
I got a question. So you haven't got your bids back. The bids haven't come back. We don't know that we're gonna even get the funding, and people are gonna have to start paying phase 4 charge in June.
Okay, so phase 4 was originally applied for to the state for funding back in 2022. This surcharge that we're implementing now is for that funding package.
Okay.
Time went by, realized we were short some funding. So in June, this June, DANR is going to review that additional $1.1 million funding request and
Okay.
present another funding package.
All right, because that's a question somebody's gonna ask me.
Yes,
So you
Yes.
explained it, thank you.
It's on the 15th, right? May 15th?
14th
14.
for the big project, the big part of it. So we broke phase 4 into 3 pieces.
Right.
Abandoning the wells, that was under the 100,000, so we just did RFPs on that. That'll be on the agenda next time to review. We did the ground storage for the ground storage tank and the mixers and that, and the water tower. We just opened bids for those. When was that, Terry?
Last week.
Yeah,
It was just last week. That's on the agenda tonight, what you guys want to do with those. And then next week, we're gonna open bids for the big part of the project, which is the 52 plus blocks of water main.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
No,
Down then,
yeah,
or at the next meeting,
at the next meeting, but we'll know
you'll know.
the bids, you know, coming in later this month, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, hearing none,
So I have a question, cause I see on the minutes from the last meeting, I wasn't here, but I see that Alderman Jones wanted to explore city funds that could potentially be used to pay down the water and wastewater loans. Have you looked at any of that, or?
We can still do that, but we also discussed at that last meeting, after that was discussed, that according to law, no matter how much money we put at it, isn't gonna change that
Until it's
surcharge
paid off,
until it's
correct?
paid off.
Yeah, I understand that, but I just wondered, read that in here, and I was wondering if you had looked at anything that might help get them paid off earlier. I understand the surcharges have to stay on until the loans are all paid off.
Yeah.
But if we can.
Some of that comes down to also what percentage of this funding package in June turns out to be grant versus a loan. That's a substantial deciding factor.
But that's still something you guys are gonna be looking at, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
and I can have, you know, Cindy help me out here. I know, as with Shayla, I've been in the finance office to, you know, kind of look at some of the things that we can do, and it's not gonna be right away, but hopefully maybe within within a time, a year or two, maybe 3, that we can possibly do something. But we're also responsible to maintain a minimum balance. We're also responsible making sure that the department and, you know, everything is solvent. I think we have that responsibility, but we have been looking at what we can do to help maybe, and one of them is the water tower, you know, and what, if there's a time coming up that we can seriously look at the possibility of paying that off. But to answer your question, yes, we have been looking at it, but again, that we want to put ourselves in a position so we can and still stay economically solvent, you know, with regard to that. Does that?
That answers I just think people wanna know that you guys are looking at other ways to.
Absolutely. And I
And-
appreciate the question to allow us to get that message, you know, out to our residents.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have that federal audit this year with KBA. We're gonna go through those I'm gonna sit down with Emily. We're gonna go through those bid documents and see exactly how much is restricted for each of those bonds. And then we'll work from there.
And that's another thing, restricted meaning what we can utilize,
You can't touch that money.
yeah.
There are some of the bonds that will allow for you to invest it or use it for different purposes. But again, it's all spelled out in those those bond documents, and I intend on going through those with Emily to make sure we're doing everything exactly correct, and then I want to drop a report.
Because you don't wanna go to jail?
Not really.
No. But I do appreciate the question, you betcha. Thank you.
Do you need a motion?
Yes, I do.
Make a motion to approve that ordinance 753.
Okay,
Second.
second. Discussion. Hearing none, we'll do a,
752, just for clarification.
yes,
The ordinance.
what did I say?
I said 3, I meant 752.
752. Okay, motion is second to approve the first reading of ordinance 757. So we'll do a roll call. Roll call vote. Councilman Jones.
We do a roll call vote on the first reading?
Or second reading? A second reading, all in favor, that'd be, I like that idea better because Susan and Dale aren't here, so. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you for the clarification, because I know we did it that way last time, but couldn't recall if it was on the first one or the second one.
Last time we did
Okay.
it on the second one.
All right, good. Second one is ordinance number 753. An ordinance for the purpose of amending the revised ordinance for the city of Miller, South Dakota, number 722, to provide for amending the sewer rate to be charged by the Miller Municipal Sewer System. Let me ask this question before I go on. Oh, I see, it's the ordinance, okay, never mind, the ordinance number I was talking about, okay. What I was doing is number, like in this case, 722, but that was a previous ordinance. Correct, okay, all right. Be it ordained that the Common Council of the City of Miller, South Dakota, that the city fee schedule listing sewer rates to be amended as follows. 1, rates is the rates charged to customers be amended as follows. This is the residential sewer rate. Now again, as I read through everything until I get to phase 4, are already rates that are in place. The base fee of $25 for residential again, plus the debt service charge for phase 1, $18.75, plus the debt service charge of phase 2 is $10.60, plus the debt service charge of phase 3 is $10.85, and which would be added as a debt service charge. Phase 4 would be $3.70 for the total of $68.90. This is the commercial sewer rate. Base fee is at $25, plus the debt service charge, phase 1 is $18.75, plus the debt service charge of phase 2 is $10.60, plus the debt service charge of phase 3 is $10.85, and the addition would be the debt service charge of phase 4 would be $3.70 for the total amount of $68.90. The commercial accounts using over 6,000 gallons of water per month adds $1 per 1,000 used. This ordinance should be in full force and in effect so as to commence and include all sewer billings beginning with the sewer usage for the month of June 2024.
Make a motion that we approve ordinance number 753.
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none, motion is made and second to approve the ordinance number 753. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. And again, we will, by the next meeting, we will know the grant money that we, am I correct?
We'll know the bids.
Pardon me?
We'll know the bids.
But no bid, yeah, thank you very much for that. Yes, thanks for that clarification. Okay, having said that, on pages 25 and 26, that's phase 4 water storage bid. Now, if you look on bid A, or just go, you can see that. And so the total bid of Schedule A is $124,500. Okay? And bid B, the first, bid A was from Northern Steel Tanks in Mount View, Minnesota. Bid Schedule B from McGuire Iron out of Sioux Falls. Total B would be $50,000. Okay. With that, and you can see okay, on page 27, help me out there, Cindy, with regard to that. Or not, 25, oh my, I'm ahead of my sketch. 25 and 26, okay. All right, here, okay, go back to 25. This was the meeting with Camden Hofer, and Camden is our SPN consultant with regard to these, the projects, and I'm just going to go through a letter he sent to Cindy. If you look at that, one of the first paragraphs, the Great Plains Structures rejected due to the missing bid bond. They did not have a bid bond on their application. Okay? If you look at second paragraph, the recommendation was bid Schedule B, the tanks mixers, to McGuire Iron for $50,000. Now, what we could do with bid A, one option would be award Northern Steel tanks and try to negotiate. Another option is to rebid Schedule A. And the recommendation that the city should proceed with the rebid because of the potential cost savings.
And I'm gonna interject one thing right here. Camden did call this afternoon and said that he has started verbal negotiations with Northern Steel Tanks. He's got them down to within 20,000 of the original low bid by Great Plains on bid Schedule A. But he would still suggest to rebid because it'd still be a possible cost savings.
So is that pretty close to what the engineer's estimate is?
It's on the second, it's on page.
Engineer's estimate on bid Schedule A is
Yeah, I
105
see that.
to 100.
Has he worked them down close to that figure?
What did he get him down to? I think he got him down to that, yes.
Oh, okay.
He was, Northern Plains was the one he's negotiating with.
Yes.
Yes. He's negotiating with Northern Plains, yes.
Great Plains
Because he was the next,
originally
they were the next lowest bidder.
I think we should take the McGuire Iron one for the Schedule B.
Okay,
I second that.
okay, discussion? Okay, motion has been made and seconded to accept a bid from McGuire Iron for Sioux Falls for $50,000, correct?
For Schedule
Yeah,
B.
for Schedule B. Hearing no other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. What about A?
I think rebid it. And see if you can get Great Plains to put up a bond.
Second.
Is it,
Second? Have a motion and a second to rebid Schedule A,
Yeah.
okay?
They were the low bid, but they didn't have a bond. If you rebid it,
They had it on the outside, but not on the inside of their packet. That's why it got rejected.
which makes me think they probably just put it on the inside of the packet this time.
Yeah,
It's gonna save you more than the $3,000 it costs to rebid it.
okay. Have a
I'll make
motion,
We rebid Schedule A.
okay, motion and second to rebid Schedule A. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Okay, on page 27 to 28, now that's the SPN invoice, that's what I was looking at before I just jumped a page. And on there, that basically the Miller Phase 4 wastewater final design phase approval from DANR. Total amount due is $800 in that one. For Phase 4, the water final design phase approval from DANR is $8,400. And the Miller Phase 4 abandoned wells, final design completed is the amount of $1,500. Do you have the totals?
10,700.
Yeah, 77, yeah.
make a motion, we
yes.
pay SPN invoices 33,592 through 33,594 and a total of 10,700.
I'll second it.
The second. Discussion. Hearing none, motion has been made and seconded to pay the SPN invoices 3359.2 to 3359.4 with a total of $10,700. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carries. Part-time police officer.
I'm not sure what we need to discuss, I guess, but
I
In
can
general-
tell,
what's that?
you can do an introduction, and I can say what we come out of the committee meeting
Sure.
with, so I'd let you.
I guess a discussion of having a roster of part-time police officers available to fill in when needed to avoid overtime and save money.
So the way the current structure is a 24 hours on duty department. Anytime, most times that someone takes vacation, there's a good possibility that someone else is gonna have to have overtime for that shift to pick up. So I'm speaking for the committee that met before the new council come together, but we had come up with the idea or the solution that it would be a good idea to get a roster of part-time police officers, so in case of a life event, which is kind of upon us right now, or any other time someone wants off, we are not paying as much wage as we need to be if we can get some of them shifts covered by a part-time officer.
What's the total overtime cost that we pay now?
Habitually in the last 10 years, this is shaky, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but going back 10 years, between 20 and 30,000 in overtime a year-ish. Correct me if that's what I had seen and researched in the past when I first got into public safety. And that's a lot to do with 12-hour shifts. So I mean, we do a lot of 46-hour weeks, right? Or 42.
Well, no, overtime doesn't occur until after 84 hours. 86.
Okay, yep, so we're getting a good amount of overtime a year. And not all of it will go away, but for the times when we have someone that needs to be gone for extended periods of time, that's really gonna kill our budget.
So why don't we just reduce the amount of hours that we're working to stay underneath the overtime? That would be, seems to me to be the, if we're really gonna try to save money, that would be the way to do it.
It's my understanding that 24/7 has been a very, I don't know, non-negotiable.
It's come up at every discussion.
I
whenever
think
we talk
everything's
about-
always negotiable.
I just mean by what people have expressed to me that
All I can say is from the public safety committee that met, that was not discussed. It was just the opening it up to get some part-time officers, to help with the immediate overtime issue. And we technically don't even have to open up for it, cause it's already, do we have,
there's already a wage set for it.
right, so I don't know if we have to have approval to open it up, or if it's already there in general because it's part-time. I mean, it's great if we did,
yeah.
I just don't know if,
I think, you know, Will brings up a good point, but I think that point would not be minimized or prevent moving forward, whether or not we approve moving forward with a list of part-time police officers.
I'm
You
not
know.
following you.
Well, basically, just because we have somebody, and if you want to modify the rules and regulations that we do not have 24-hour service, doesn't mean that we still couldn't utilize a part-time person. That's what I'm saying. Which would, in essence, if anything went over, we could still save money with regard to the overtime. That's kind of what I'm saying.
And I think even if you looked into the reduction of hours, if there's a large amount of time somebody needs off, I think that reduction would be huge. You'd have no coverage for days in a row.
Well, no one's suggesting no coverage for days in a row, but you could reduce hours instead of having
I'm just saying,
12, you could
if
have
somebody
8s or
wanted,
10s.
somebody wanted 3 weeks off. The need for a part-time person, I think, would still exist, even if you
So the
looked into the,
so the part-time would be not regularly scheduled, it'd be on an as-needed basis?
yeah,
Because what's upon us is a life event happened with an employee's family, and he needs to spend time with family, and that is an extended period of time, and any shifts that he were going to work during that time period would be essentially all overtime
correct.
for another person to pick up, and then you have 3 people covering a 4-man that you're kind of walking on a nice blade there of you need 4 officers at all times to run the shift the way it's set up now.
That's the bare minimum.
Yes.
Or reduce the weekly coverage by 43 hours. Correct. That, I mean, that would be the same difference, and the 3 guys could still cover that.
So if you go to on-call, but then you're still having on-call,
Yeah, what do you put in that hole then, on-call time, or?
Sure, you figure out what hours, in a 24-hour period, what hours you're least likely to need something.
Are we still covered by the Han County Sheriff's Office also?
Yes.
I mean, is there a way that could be worked out with them, something?
You know, I think there could be. I think there's some things we could move forward with regard to police protection. But at the same time, all this does is put in place an officer or list an officer or officers who are willing to take on as needed, on an as-need basis, whether with regard to whatever you wanted to do with the schedule. I think they're 2 different things. Would it be beneficial to have somebody on call on an as-need basis? Okay, then if we want to address the other situation, okay, what amount of coverage do we want to have somebody actively on duty versus, and then cover the rest as an on-call basis? But I think they're 2 different. I think there are 2 different things that we're looking here. We can go ahead and proceed with a part-time person. Now, how we utilize that part-time person is going to be dependent on type of coverage that we want to have. I mean, that's how I'm looking at it.
I agree, they're 2 different topics.
Yeah. Just to have that person available on an as-need basis, person or persons.
Yep.
Okay?
speaking for the council, since I'm the only, or not the council, the committee, since I'm the only one that is here
Yeah.
for the committee, is I'd make a motion that we would open up to accept applications for part-time police officers, certified part-time police officers.
Okay?
Are you making that as a recommendation from the committee?
I'm making the motion, but I'm the only one that's from the committee, so I'm really the only one.
Recommendation or just?
I
From the committee,
I stated the recommendation earlier. This is my personal motion for,
recommendation have to wait till next meeting. That's why I'm like, you're not making a
Yeah,
recommendation,
no.
right?
He's
I'm making a
making a
motion.
motion. He's making a motion. He said a motion.
Okay.
Yeah. On this latest statement, he said, he's the only one here with regard to the Public Safety Committee, other than I sat on, but that's ex officio. But he's making to the motion to that effect is to hire a part-time, someone on a part-time basis. Yes, so,
But it's gonna be an as-needed basis, correct?
as needed basis, and if we need to change the makeup of the coverage, that's gonna come at a separate time.
Yeah,
Right.
we're not changing
As
the
needed
structure.
could be anytime, it wouldn't matter whether you
Yeah.
changed the time or
Yeah.
the times
Yeah.
or not.
We're not changing the
If you need-
structure of we're typically of having one officer on duty. We're not
Yeah.
increasing police force. We're just giving ourselves some more tools to
Use.
financially use to help.
Okay? Does that answer your question?
Yes, it
Okay, I have a motion to hire a part-time police officer.
I just made the motion to open up applications.
Open up the, yes,
To accept applications.
accept applications, yes.
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none, a motion has been made and second to open up for application purposes of part-time police officer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Do you?
Okay, I entertain a motion to go into executive session for personnel pursuant for South Dakota Codified Law 125-2, 1 in parentheses.
I'll make a motion, go into executive session.
Second?
Second? Okay. Declared in executive session.